Hey guys, this is God of Politics, and welcome back to a brand new video. We are now at 356 subscribers. Can we get to 500 subscribers by election day? Please like this video and subscribe to the channel so that we can get there. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description, and check out the website that is also linked down in the description. But in today's video, I do want to talk about the big event that is happening tomorrow, and that is the first presidential debate between Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee, and Donald Trump, the Republican nominee and incumbent president. The debate is being moderated by Chris Wallace of Fox News, and it is starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Cleveland, Ohio at the Case Western Reserve University, and it will be broken into 6 15-minute segments. The segments that it will be broken into are, it says the commission said that the topics are subject to change based on, quote, news developments, but the 6 segments will be, quote, the Biden and Trump records, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, the economy, race and violence in our cities, and the integrity of our election. So, very interesting topics. They did, leave out things like healthcare, things like climate change, but I'm sure they will be addressed in later debates. But, you do have very important topics. For example, the Trump and Biden records. I would imagine that Trump would be able to win on this issue by attacking Biden for his record on things like the crime bill, his past record on things like the Iraq War, the Patriot Act, things like that. Also, the Supreme Court, I would expect Biden to win this. Currently the polls have shown negative support for the nomination and confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, so Joe Biden may be able to win that issue. COVID-19 is an issue that I do expect Biden to win by quite a lot because obviously, over 200,000 people have died. It's, Donald Trump's approval rating on COVID-19 is very, very low. And, that's something that Joe Biden can hit him on. The economy, people do trust Donald Trump on the economy more than they trust Joe Biden in most of the polls, albeit not by much, but they still do trust him. This is an opportunity for Joe Biden to tout what he did, things like the Recovery Act, the auto bailout, which could help him in the Midwest, and he needs to tout those kinds of policies if he wants to win. Trump needs to make the economy the central message of his campaign by talking about how he created a good economy, or in his perspective, he created a good economy, and he needs to talk about that. Race and violence in our cities. Joe Biden's actually, people are saying that the law and order message is hurting Biden, and the violence is hurting Biden, but really, I don't really see that at all. The race and violence in our cities thing helps Joe Biden, and he can just say, look at the incumbent president, look what's happening in our cities because of the president, talk about that. So I do expect that to be an issue that Joe Biden can win, and the integrity of our election, this is something Trump has been complaining about a lot, the mail-in ballots, things like that, saying the election is rigged. He said the same exact thing in 2016, and it was not a popular message. We'll talk, I guess Joe Biden can hit home the message of Trump saying he wouldn't necessarily have a peaceful transition of power and accepting the results. This is later in the debate, so there's going to be less people watching it, and it's probably less of an issue than all of these other things, but I do expect it to be an issue that Joe Biden would be able to win. So overall, these topics are pretty good for Joe Biden. It gives him a chance to attack Donald Trump, but it also gives him a chance to talk about his policies, which he hasn't been doing as much of recently. He has a lot of money to spend on ads about the things. We had the new revelations on the tax things from Donald Trump, the tax returns. So we'll see how that plays out in the debate. But I do want to talk about some polls that were released about the debate. We had this Monmouth poll just released today. It showed Biden up 5 points with likely voters. And when asked the question about the debate, it says, as you may know, the first presidential debate between Trump and Biden will be held Tuesday night. Do you plan on watching the debate live or not? 74% plan on watching it, and 20% don't plan on watching it live. The numbers are pretty much the same for Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, a little bit lower for Independents. The numbers are also higher, obviously, for older voters, lower for younger voters. The numbers are a little bit higher for white voters, pretty much the same by education, and pretty much, obviously, it is also higher in these swing counties. It says Trump 10 plus points, 73 to 22, Clinton plus 10 points, 73 to 21, and then swing counties is 80 to 15. So people in the swing counties will be watching these this debate. And it does say, which is quite important to note, it says, how likely is that the debate will change your mind about which candidate you intend to support? Very likely, somewhat likely, or not likely. It says only 3% say that the debates are very likely to change their mind. That includes 4% of Republicans, 4% of Democrats, 3% of independents. 10% say it's somewhat likely it may change their mind. This is mostly amongst independents. It's only 7% and 8% amongst Republicans and Democrats respectively, but it is 13% amongst independents. But overall, 87% of people saying it's not likely to change their mind on how they are going to vote in the election. And that is not to say that the debates are not important. You look historically at many different debates. You look most recently at the debate with Mike Bloomberg. He got completely destroyed in that debate according to every metric, every poll we've seen. He fell in the polls, he fell in the betting odds, and you looking at least before the debate, very likely that he could win the nomination, at least had a path. After that, it was not as likely anymore. You also look during the Democratic primary process as well, Kamala Harris going up against Joe Biden in that first primary debate where she did get that very important attack on Joe Biden. That was very useful for him, or for Kamala Harris, I should say. You look, 2016, if we look at 2016, the polls did say that Hillary Clinton won the debate. We had, a poll from CNN that found 62% said Clinton won, 27% said Trump won, and a Morning Consult poll saying Clinton won 49 to 26. The second debate was 57 to 34 for Hillary Clinton, and 42 to 28 according to Politico. And then the third debate, the CNN CBS News Battleground Tracker found that 49% of voters in battleground states thought that Clinton won, 39% thought Trump won. It says that as the debates progressed, Clinton's standing in the head-to-head polls against Trump steadily improved. Clinton was ahead 2.3 ahead of the debates, and then she ended up being at 6.5% ahead on the eve of the final debate. And as we know, Hillary Clinton ended up losing that election, but it is very important to know. So I'm not actually sure what the numbers are for that election in terms of people saying they changed their mind, but in this election, it's really not very high. There's a lot less undecided voters this cycle, and so that is very important to note. It also says, should the debate moderator fact-check a candidate who states false information? 63% said yes, 30% said no. They are not doing fact-checking. Chris Wallace said he's not going to be doing fact-checking, but expect a lot of the media sites to be doing fact-checking anyway. But there is going to be lying from the candidates, regardless of whether that happens or not. And then another question that wasn't posed in the Monmouth poll, but was posed in the Economist poll. It says, who do you think will do better or win the debate? 34% said Joe Biden, 39% said Donald Trump. Most importantly, amongst independents, Donald Trump does have a 12-point advantage, 36 to 24. I wouldn't necessarily say that it helps Joe Biden, but there's the possibility that since there's higher expectations for Donald Trump, people are expecting him to win. It may be more difficult for Donald Trump to live up to those expectations, but I wouldn't necessarily count on that too much. People talk about how Joe Biden is very old, he's very slow with his words. We'll see whether he is like that. A lot of people said that in advance of the Bernie versus Biden debate, and then Biden, ended up winning that debate, and he ended up going on to win the nomination, basically sweeping all of the states after that. So Joe Biden should be fine. The debate, I personally think that Joe Biden will narrowly win the debate. I think it's probably going to be a pretty even debate, and it's not going to change much about the race, but I do think that Joe Biden is going to win the debate. He's going to win it narrowly again, and it's not going to change much in the race. If we look at the current average, it has Biden up 6.8%, basically cracking 50% of the vote. He hasn't fallen below 6% since, or he fell I think he fell a little bit below 6% a couple weeks ago, or it went down to 6 points. That was his lowest point, but he hasn't gone below 6 points since, back in April. So his lead has remained very steady. It peaked at around 10 percentage points. It's now down to 6.8 percentage points. But Donald Trump is really running out of time. He has to do something very big, and he's got to really win this debate if he wants to close the gap and end up winning this election. He can't just count on the GDP numbers and the vaccine coming out, because people don't trust him on either of those issues. So we'll see, or maybe they trust him in the economy. They definitely don't trust him on the vaccine. So we'll see how this ends up turning out. Again, I I do think Joe Biden is going to narrowly win the debate. I don't think it's going to be by very much, but the polls will show Biden's going to win. It won't give him much of a boost, but it will keep his lead steady. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description, and check out the website that is also linked down in the description, which I update every single day. So again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.